Welcome back to Politics Nation. New polling out this past week of more than 3,000 eligible Latino voters shows Vice President Kamala Harris with a 27-point lead over former President Donald Trump. However, still underperforming Democrats compared to past presidential elections. The poll released by Unidos US, the largest Latino advocacy group, and was done by BSP Research, a Democratic polling firm. Joining me now is the deputy chair of the Congressional Hispanic Caucus, New York Congressman Adriano Espaillat, a Democrat from New York. Thank you for joining me today, Congressman Espaillat. The polling suggests that Vice President Harris has gained back ground Biden may have lost with the Latino voters. There is a significant divide between English-speaking Latinos and those who are bilingual or Spanish-speaking. What are your reflections on where the Latino vote stands?
Well, thank you, Reverend, for inviting me. I was in Allentown, Pennsylvania yesterday, and we were campaigning for the vice president, and we see some momentum on the ground. But as you know, with Tuesday's debate coming up, it is now crunch time, and we need to really mobilize everybody. We cannot have a cookie cutter approach to the Latino communities because you communicate to a Puerto Rican voter much different than you communicate to a Dominican voter. Even within the Mexican community, those from Texas and California may have different priorities. And so we must be laser focused in developing a message that resonates in those particular communities. And so we're working very hard on that. I think we're going to get there. 27% is a good start, but we really need to do better.
Now, staying with the poll, the top 5 issues Latinos care about are pretty much the same as most Americans: inflation, jobs, health care, and crime, as well as housing. Immigration is only 6th on the list. Do you think the Harris campaign has done a good job recognizing the issues that Latino voters care about? And on the subject of immigration, is her support of the bipartisan border bill popular with Latino communities?
Well, I'll start with the last first. There is support for immigration reform, including border security. I think Latinos are not different than many other Americans. They want the border to be secure, but they want families to stay together. And the Biden-Harris border bill is one that strengthens security there. And President Biden also signed an executive order that gives 500,000 spouses of U.S. citizens the ability not to go back home to regularize their status and to be able to get an immediate work permit, as well as 50,000 children. So this is a good balanced approach. There are other things that we could do on the immigration reform end, but I think most people want a balanced approach. With regards to the other issues, you're right. Latinos are no different. They want education for their kids. They don't want the goods that they purchase at the bodega to be too high. They want to make sure that crime is down, that their neighborhoods are safe. No different than any other person. Healthcare, access to healthcare. There's a high incidence of diabetes. So they're very grateful to the fact that now insulin is capped at $35. So these are the things that we have to message and resonate within our community in a culturally, linguistic, sensitive way.
Now, Republicans are sending a very different message to Latino voters right now. I want to play this ad that the Trump campaign is airing. Take a listen.
Suspect charged in Laken Riley's murder was 26-year-old Jose Antonio Ibarra. He illegally entered the United States back in 2022.
A Texas grand jury indicted Rafael Govea Romero. He's accused of attacking 16-year-old Lisbeth Medina by repeatedly hitting her head and stabbing her.
So let's get our notions together about what we're talking about.
And in a rally yesterday, former President Trump explained that he repeated mentions of the fictional serial killer Hannibal Lecter are meant to refer to migrants who he claims, without evidence, are coming from prisons and insane asylums. What do you think this insulting tone coming from Trump and Republicans hasn't hurt them more with Latino voters?
This is Willie Horton all over again, Brad, except this time it's with Spanish surnames. And so he wants to demonize anybody that has a Spanish surname. And he wants to make them synonymous with crime, disarray. And that's not absolutely no evidence that that is the case. But people are much smarter than that. I think people will read through that. The Latino community will feel offended by that, as they have already. And the main goal right now is to overperform, to make sure that our communities come out to vote in record numbers. And that's what we're working on. We'll be back in Pennsylvania, which is a key state, every weekend to make sure that we overperform.
Now, Congress has until the end of the month to pass a spending bill to keep the government running. Republican Speaker Mike Johnson is pushing a spending bill that includes a proof of citizenship requirement for voter registration, an add-on supported by former President Trump that is likely to be dead on arrival in the Senate. It's already illegal for a non-citizen to register to vote. Is this a voter intimidation tactic targeting the Latino community?
This is voter suppression. This is a move to set out a chilling effect in the community. So people, those that of course are eligible to vote, may not feel comfortable even going to vote because perhaps they have someone in their family who's undocumented and they are afraid for them. There was absolutely no evidence of massive voting fraud amongst immigrants, never mind amongst undocumented immigrants. I don't know of anybody that's going to show up to a poll site if they're undocumented with the fear that they may be arrested right there and deported. So this is hogwash. This is Trump being Trump, and this is Willie Horton in Spanish all over again.
Congressman Espaillat of New York, Democrat of New York, home congressman of our national headquarters of National Action Network. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you,
Up next,
Reverend.
my final thoughts next. Stay with us.